everybody. Thank you so much for being here again. We are here live today with awesome, multi-talented Kate Loprest, who has been acting and dancing and working on stage and in TV for a very long time. We're so lucky to have her here to talk to us today. Kate is going to pop up in just a sec here. How's it going?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Who's our guest star?
This is Georgie girl, and she'll either be here or she'll be at my feet, but right now she feels like being the center of attention.
Yes,
no.
Two stars in the mix here. Awesome. So Kate, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've been working on lately?
Sure. What I've been working on, well, let's start with a little bit about me. I'm from a small town called Deerfield, Illinois. It's in the northern suburbs of Chicago. And I grew up, taking classes in acting, singing, and dancing and all that kind of great stuff. And as a lot of theaters do, they teach classes. And I was taking through a particular theater at the time, and they also had professional productions going on there. So the children that they would teach, they would pull them to audition for the professional productions. And that's kind of what happened to me when I was 15. I did my first professional production here in the Chicagoland area. And so I'm 36 years old now. So I've been professionally acting for 20 years, and that's kind of cool. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it the rest of my life. My dog is choking me. Hold on. I've done it for that many years, and I think it's something I'm going to do the rest of my life. I'll probably be an actor longer than I'm most other things.
That's amazing. Do you remember what that first show was?
Yeah, the show's called Violet. Janine Tesori wrote it. They did a revival of it on Broadway just a couple of years ago with Sutton Foster. And Joshua Henry and Colin Donnell were in it as well. And in 1999, when I did it, I played young Violet. I would really like to play older Violet someday, just to kind of complete that circle. But it was a newer show at the time, and Janine Tesori was a newer writer. So it's been really cool to watch her progress also as a female songwriter in this day and age. I never met her working on the show, but in 1990, it was like, who is this woman? Who is this young woman who's writing stuff? So that was my first professional foray. From there, I got an agent. Agents came to see it, and I started kind of having this interesting, not a split life, but like a different part of my life, where I would leave school sometimes in the afternoons and drive downtown to audition for commercials or television or plays and stuff like that. So that was my extracurricular activity, along with still doing like the school musical and field hockey and POMs and that kind of stuff. So I had this interesting kind of double life, kind of like adult life going on from the time that I was 15 or 16. But I knew I wanted to go to college to pursue the performing arts, and I applied to the University of Michigan Musical Theater Department, where I was lucky to get invited into their program. And I spent 4 years in Ann Arbor then, learning tricks of the trade from like the best.
That's super duper cool. And what have you been working on most recently?
Most recently, gosh, what did I just finish? I just finished in December a production of The Sound of Music that was being done at the Oslo Repertory Theater in Sarasota, Florida. They are a fantastic, fantastic regional theater, and one of the only theaters that still has a rep company. Not a company, but they have a rep season where they have a number of different shows going on at the same time, sometimes with similar cast members. But they do one or two big splashy musicals a year, and they did The Sound of Music this year in a way that I was just blown away at the attention to detail. The actual libretto of the musical there are similarities, but so different from the movie, and so many people are attached to the movie. I had so many attachments to the movie, and it was wonderful to be pulled away from that and to talk about the real issues that were going on. We also had permission from the Rodgers and Hammerstein estate to not make changes, but to reinvest and kind of redevelop and discover the work in different ways. So that was really cool and fantastic. And that was something I was so honored to do.
That sounds like an amazing thing to be involved in.
That was amazing. Amazing.
That sounds so cool.
I played Elsa. I guess I should say what I did. I played the woman who comes to marry the captain, the Baroness.
Cool.
He chooses the nun. We all know this story, right?
I would hope.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about The Sound of Music plenty for HAPA, so it's cool to hear somebody's perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. It's always important to read the script. Please read the script.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now I'm sure that any of my students who are watching, I haven't been looking at the live comments, but everybody is probably super curious about your experience on Wicked. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. It was so long ago now. I know that Wicked is, do you know what I mean? Like it's still playing. It's still prevalent. Half of my friends are still in it or have been involved at this point. But I started Wicked in 2005 in Chicago, in the Chicago company of Wicked. So that was a very long time ago now. I was 6 months out of college. I was very, very new to the industry, and I learned a lot really, really fast, because you can come out of Michigan isn't a conservatory program, but you learn most of what you're learning is musical theater and theater. And you learn, there's only so much you can learn in a classroom, and doing it 8 times a week, you will never understand it until you actually do it. You know what I mean? I hope you guys do. You know, you do your show on like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you close. Doing it 8 times a week for months on end is a very, very different skill. So I had to learn that diving in head first. You know, it wasn't a regional gig that lasted 6 weeks. I went into Wicked. I met a lot of really great people that I'm still in touch with, people that I've worked with since, and it's people that I'm just kind of connected to forever in that way. And the best thing about it is, being from the Chicagoland area, I had actually moved to New York City and ended up getting cast in the Chicago production. So I had to move to New York to move back to Chicago, literally 3 months to the date.
That is wild.
It was wild. But my parents live in the suburbs, they still live in this house that I'm in right now. My grandparents were all alive at that time too. So that was, I'll ever be indebted to Craig Burns from Telsey Casting, who cast me in the Chicago company, because I think that's some of the last things that my grandparents ever saw me do. My grandma and grandpa, who passed away many, many years ago, grandpa passed away many years ago, had their first date in the Oriental Theater in Chicago when it was a movie theater.
Oh, wow.
And she had not been back because, I don't know, it's not a movie theater anymore. It's a traveling theater house. And, 50 years later, I ascend out of the sky as Glinda in a bubble. It was wild for her, I'm sure.
That is so amazing that she got what a gift for her. That's so cool.
It was a gift for me, really a gift for me. It was, like I said, it was because you're doing 8 shows a week for a long time, it's physically and emotionally more difficult than I think people expect, but it's all cool. It's all chill for me in my mind, because they all got to see it. They all my 3 grandparents got to see that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Kate. So we are at this point going to bring Kathleen in, or Miss DT, as the kids call her.
Wow.
For some questions about, I'm sure, dancing. She is our dance guru here at HAPA.
Wow. Amazing.
Hello, how are you, Kate?
I'm so good. I'm kind of sweating. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm in my sweatpants, and I tried to put on a sweater to look like I'm a professional, but I'm like not even wearing a bra.
Yeah, woo!
Sorry.
Hey, that's okay. However we need to do it. That's cool. Well, hey, thank you so much for taking time out to do this for us and talk to our kids. I know the comments, they're having a great time. I'm Miss DT. I'm the dance director at HAPA, and I went to Hope College, not too far from University of Michigan.
Good old
So
state of
Michigan school. I loved it.
Yeah.
So I have a few questions just based on your experience and what you've been talking about, which is such an amazing career. And I'm so glad to hear that when you said I'm going to keep acting and acting. I think that's great because I find so many people quit or they just don't want to do it. And you just are so successful and keep going. So I love that. And I'm going to ask a lot of dance and movement questions.
Great.
But why do you think dance and movement is so important to know as an actor?
There is do you know what Alexander technique is?
Yes.
Do you guys study what that is? It's an aligning of the body that I studied when I studied abroad in London. And it was my first exposure to it. And we don't have a lot of training like that in the States, but it basically teaches you how to hold your body so you move better through space. And there is this story about Ian McKellen, who believes so much in Alexander technique that he was doing a show and a younger person in the show, he just came up to him one day and said, have you ever had Alexander technique? And he said, no. And Ian McKellen paid for him to have Alexander technique lessons so that he could move better through space. He knew that that person needed that kind of alignment and that kind of facility to their body. And I mean, if Alexander technique is simply moving through space, think about what we do when we're actually emitting emotions and physically moving. I think it's imperative to be able to move your body, to stretch, to use it as your instrument.
Oh, you have to. I just feel, even as dancer, and I've been in few shows, choreographed so many, you have to know that sense of movement. And Alexander technique, when you were at Michigan, was that part of the curriculum for musical theater acting?
It was my studying abroad. I studied Shakespeare and Stanislavski overseas in London. We had dance class at Michigan. I was in dance class 5 days a week at Michigan.
Yeah, because I know some programs have Alexander technique and different other methods as part of that, but that's great. I'm glad you brought that up because it's awesome. And most programs now do it, but some don't. So I hope the kids really heard you. Get experience in that, guys. That's really good.
Hey, look it up on the internet. Go on. Yeah. You guys, if you have time, go on YouTube, look up Alexander technique.
There's probably some free sessions, I wonder, now.
Oh, I bet there are. I know all my friends are doing free yoga, free workouts, free Pilates, free. Are you all dancing with Tyler Peck at noon every day?
Not at noon every day, but some kids, yeah. Yeah, they're still in bed at noon, which some Tyler Peck guys. In terms of movement, what do you think your hardest dance and movement, the hardest show you've done, would be?
Chorus line. I did it in college, and then I decided I was going to get really fancy and do it again when I was 34 years old. Not like do it. I got cast again, and I was very scared, because my body is different. I played Sheila, and Sheila's supposed to be the oldest one at 30. And I remember I grew up on the movie, and I'm like, Sheila's not 30. Sheila is 42 and fly. No, Sheila is 34 years old, who hasn't been in a lot of dance class in a while, and has simply just been. I moved to doing a lot of like strength and weightlifting.
Yeah, I was going to say that cardio, more cardio work too.
More cardio and that kind of thing. So when this opportunity came up to do it, I knew what I was in for. I knew it was the original choreography, which I learned in college way back in the day. Though in college I played Deanna, and now I was playing Sheila. So now I'm not doing turns and flat keds, sorry, because Deanna wears flat like tennis shoes, and Sheila wears 3-inch heels.
Yeah, I was going to say, oh my God, 3-inch heels.
3-inch heels.
Oh,
and I'll tell you what the hardest part of it, I mean, it's a 2-hour dance show. You dance the whole time. There aren't enough calories in the world. There's no time to eat, and there's not enough calories in the world. So you sneak it when you can, and you eat a lot after the show. The hardest part, what hurt my body more than the dancing, and this is interesting, is the standing on the line. Because standing in 3-inch heels, your IT bands start working to hold up your body. That's what they're supposed to do. So after dancing like a crazy person for 15, 20 minutes, you go stand on a line for an hour.
Yeah, oh God. See, this is all good. I'm so glad you're saying this, because this is to keep your body even conditioning after the show, into going into another show during a show. It's so important as an actor to keep your body conditioned somehow.
I mean, everybody has their own thing, their own warm up. We were all there an hour and a half before every show. I was the Cassie understudy, which is kind of laughable. But I made them teach me the routine just in case she got sick, because I was like, listen, guys, if anything happens to Sabrina, you're going to get 9 minutes of improv from me. It's really, really bad. You have to at least teach it to me. So that kind of became part of my warm up. Is I would go upstairs, I would do some stretches, I would do ballet bar, I would jump rope, and then I would run Cassie's number.
And I think it's a matter too of how you want to keep conditioning too before you go on stage. Again, going from a show to another show, or a different show to a different show. Yep. We've been doing a lot of yoga Pilates with the kids. And the Alexander technique would be something great for the actors, and yoga Pilates too, because you gotta warm up and do what you need each body. So it's good. I'm glad you brought in the jump rope, because I'm not sure if people are thinking, oh, I didn't think about that. I make like the dance kids prance and run right before you go on.
Sure, yeah.
You got to have that prep.
Yeah, we're all stretching. We were all rolling out. We all had lots of rolling out equipment, balls and
foam roll. Yeah, see, you got to have that stuff.
Stage, we would keep going to stay warm.
What are movement auditions like for you through the years?
I've been in. I consider myself in this day and age a mover plus. And by that I mean I don't really have a lot of balletic technique. I shied away from it as a kid. Mistake. Listen to me. I did a lot of jazz because I enjoyed it. I had to take ballet at Michigan. I think I chose to take it 3 out of the 4 years, or maybe 4 out of the 4, because I saw such amazing changes in my body and my flexibility. I mean, in the first 2 weeks, I could feel a difference in my bones from doing ballet 3 days a week.
So actors, even if they're not the dance majors, would you recommend even now actors in our program taking some kind of dance?
Oh, if you're at home, you should be doing a yoga, a Pilates, at least stretching. There's Well, say even when like school, hopefully it'll kick in back in the fall, but like even taking some dance courses, even if they may not like ballet or jazz or, Do it. You got to do it. I took dance every summer that I wasn't at school. I always took several dance classes just to keep up the movement and the strength. But what was your initial question? I think I veered left.
No, you're good. Movement auditions, like, what are they, like how fast do they teach? What do you have to be prepared for as an actor / a dancer?
Okay, so I'm not
even for plays too. Even if you're, people that are just in plays.
Yeah, well, I know they're doing a large movement call for Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I haven't seen it, but from what I hear, it's an extensive movement audition with, wands, swashbuckling. I don't really know. But I think it depends on where you are with your dance ability. At this point, I tell people, what kind of a dancer are you? And I say, I just did chorus line, so you can take it from there. I generally enjoy movement auditions. I don't know. I guess it kind of varies. Most of them nowadays are very stylistic, but I would say I'm not at the point anymore where I'm going to go in for a Warren Carlyle and have to do a triple into a hold, into a split leap, into definitely not. Definitely.
But were you were, I assume, always prepared with having the right shoes, the right audition clothing?
Yeah. You gotta. I mean, going to a dance audition is always like, what shoes did you bring? I bought 4 pairs. You never know.
I know, kid. Right? You never know what you're gonna get. It's like a box of chocolate.
Yeah, and sometimes they're like, oh, if you really want to do this in tennis shoes, and you're like, why did I bring 4 pairs of heels? And my taps, just in case you wanted to see it. You know what I mean? Definitely be prepared. People learn at different speeds. Generally, because I'm in like mover plus auditions, they want to see how quickly you can pick up the combination and if you can bring your authentic self to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's good. That's
bring
great.
life to it if you can pick it up, and you seem like a good person, a fun person to work with.
Yeah, they can still mold something, but yet you bring yourself to it. I have one more question before we bring on our student Marta. And you tapped on it, but I just wanted you to tap on a little more. Is what training you had at University of Michigan when you go to college? Like, what did the program make you do in terms of dance?
Great. Freshman year, we had to take freshman ballet. We were in ballet Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Unless we tested into a higher level of ballet, like some of the kids were like very proficient when they came in and didn't have to take freshman ballet. They could take it with the sophomores or the juniors or something like that. But I took ballet 3 days a week. And then starting our second semester, we could add tap and then a class called Styles, which is basically music theater styles. It's, a general fun warm up to get your body moving. And then we work on a piece of choreography, which I think is still my favorite kind of dance. I'm more of a stylistic dancer. I'm not a technical dancer, but if you say we're doing Michael Bennett, if you say we're doing Fosse, then I can kind of picture what we're doing.
Yeah, I know at Hope College, the theater majors, a lot of them were in our modern jazz classes, period dance classes, folk social square dance. I mean, it's something that you can't avoid, I guess. If you want to be an actor, even if it's in place, you may have to waltz in the background.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You have to learn to waltz. If you're going to do Shakespeare, you have to learn to waltz.
Yeah, you have to. You gotta know some movement knowledge, and you have to know how to. And you've made this clear. Keep up your movement, your body strength in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was great.
Yeah.
This was so great.
I hope it was helpful.
I hope it's helpful too. This is great for me to hear. I love it.
You guys know Yoga with Adrian?
Yes, I sure do.
Okay. It's a YouTube channel. It is free.
Yeah, guys, it's free.
She's
YouTube.
So chill. It's like 30 to 35 minutes. It's not
several different types. Yeah, great. Yeah, it's just to try something that you like, to find with movement that you like. So it's not a drag.
Yeah,
it might be. You got to just find that method. But Marta, I think she's on next, our student, and I'm gonna toss the baton. Thank you so much, Kate.
Caught it.
I love Yoga with Adrian.
I love her.
I love her. She's awesome. And for the students who are listening, Yoga with Adrian is really awesome because it's seriously for all bodies. You guys, you don't exactly know what I look like, Kate, but I'm a big girl, and I have never had a problem with it or felt like I've fallen behind.
No, it's very easy and adaptable. We all know our bodies now at this point too. And if anything, that's what we should be taking away from some of this, is listening to our bodies when we've been cramped up for a couple of days in our house, saying, I need to move. I need to go to the mat, or I just need to stretch out or a little bit. And it's a free word,
but exactly. Yeah. All right. So Marta is going to join us right now. And she definitely has questions. Yeah. Oh,
Indiana University. Hey.
So, okay. As a senior, I am very concerned about college right now, especially now. So I got into the University of Michigan, not for musical theater, but for inner arts performance.
Great.
And would love nothing more than to talk about that, forever. But, I was wondering about how you got your start with Broadway productions, and how your first auditions went with even off-Broadway shows in New York, and how you were able to even get those auditions.
Sure. So something that University of Michigan Musical Theater Department boasts is something called a senior showcase. Have you heard of the senior showcase?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I had a senior showcase. And basically what that means, what it culminates your 4 years of school in this conservatory at the University of Michigan Musical Theater Department, is they basically put together a cabaret of all the seniors. And we go to New York, and casting directors, agents, managers, all these people come to see it. And they come to see the new talent and say, here's all the new people. Here's who I might want to work with. I want to call them in for a meeting. Maybe I want to make them my client. So I did my showcase, and I ended up having a couple of agent meetings with people in New York. I thought it would be like one meeting with each of them, And I did not know that they'd be like, all right, so when's our next meeting? And I was like, I'm leaving tomorrow to go do non-equity summer stock theater. I did not anticipate having to be around for a couple more weeks, but I ended up staying another week to have more meetings. And I'm glad I did, because after second meetings, I knew who I wanted to work with and who I didn't. And the only way that I can tell you to decide on who that is, it's got to be a gut feeling.
Okay.
So I signed with an agent and moved to New York City at the end of the time of my summer stock auditions. And actually, I had been going in for Wicked earlier that year, because during my spring break, I drove home to Chicago and auditioned for Wicked, not knowing that it would connect with me, a couple months later, when the casting director from Wicked, who saw me in Chicago, saw me in a senior showcase and said, oh, you ended up with such and such agent. We've been looking at Kate. We're going to keep auditioning her. It's also your agent's job to bring you auditions. So when I got to New York, my agent would call and say, hey, I have an appointment for you for this project on this day at this time. Now I just get an email. They used to call. Now it's like, please confirm in the next email. So that's generally how it happens. There's other ways to do auditions as well. Actors Equity holds open calls for just about anything that is going to be auditioning. Any regional theater has to have an open call audition. You can find out about those auditions on backstage.com. You can go to actorsequity.org and look up casting call. Those are some of the ways to find out about it. So as well as going to these auditions that my agent got me when I first got to the city, I was looking at all these open calls and going to those as well, because I believed it was my job to have everybody see me as much as possible when I first got there. And there are some people that were like, oh, no, you don't have to do that. Your agent is going to do that. And I kind of went like, well, what else am I here for? You need to put your feet on the ground and get the work done. So there's many ways to get auditions. There's some people that didn't get agents from the showcase, but they did what I did. They kept going to open calls and letting casting directors and people know who they were and what their skills were.
Okay.
Did that kind of answer your question? I kind of did like this. Yeah.
No, totally. That totally answered it. So I personally am very interested in Michigan. I was just wondering how do you think the Michigan education in performing arts is how did that impact you and your career?
Everything. Without them, I definitely would not have had any idea what I was doing. Like, no idea. Like, I wouldn't have known what to sing, how to sing it, what to wear, how to talk to people, how to prep. There's some people that come right out of high school and they just jump right into New York City. And I can't even imagine, I felt so green after 4 years of a college education. I can't imagine what they felt like right out of high school, just trying to figure it out. The one thing that I think, so there's so many great musical theater programs. Michigan happens to be one of the top rated ones. And people ask me why. And I think it's because of attention to detail. There's some, a certain school turns out really good singers. A certain school turns out really good, triple threats. I think what distinguishes Michigan is, for me at least, in my time there, is attention to detail. Because the head of our program at the time, Brent Wagner, who's since retired, and he's a marvelous, fascinating human being. We would have quizzes on dictionary items. He'd be like, if you don't know what this word is, then why are you talking about it? How do you understand it? Why are you singing about it? And to this day, I don't feel prepared unless I've done the hard work. And that goes as far as, when you're doing a piece of music and you say, oh, there's a comma there. Why is it there? How do I add that specificity? I got to tell you, there's a lot of people who don't do it.
Totally.
And if you do, you're 2 steps ahead of it. I have a friend who went in for Motown the musical to be who was the famous host back then?
I do not know.
Yeah. Anybody jump in with who the famous like TV host was back then? Yeah, gosh, I should know. Johnny Carson or something like that. I don't know. It was something like that. And they had all these people coming in, and they were a little older and a little bit younger than him, and whatever. And they kept singing these modern day songs. They would come in and sing a pop song. Ed Sullivan, Miss DT. Ed Sullivan. He was playing the Ed Sullivan role. And, he didn't actually have to sing in the show as Ed Sullivan. He just had to sound and kind of speak in the time period as Ed Sullivan. Thank you. Yes. And everybody came in singing pop songs, like modern day pop songs or musical theater songs. And my friend was like, why aren't you guys singing time period pieces or songs that were sung on the Ed Sullivan show? Because that's what he did. Mm-hmm. That's the specificity of his audition. And he was the only person that did it that day. And he got the job. And you think to yourself, well, that's stupid of other people to not have done that work. It's just too easy. It's just too easy. Do the work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Also, like, who's that dumb? Sing a time period song. Don't like sing Maroon 5 because you were just like rolled out of bed and didn't care.
Right.
I don't know. They said, well, I went to Carnegie Mellon, so it doesn't care. No, people, it matters. So think about specificity. Yeah, I use that new again. Think about specificity. Think about sentence structure. Do your research. We're all learning a lot about research because all we have is this computer and this internet connection in front of us. And to this day, it's my favorite piece of the puzzle is doing the research.
Yeah, me too. I love doing the research.
I love doing the research.
So my last question is, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
Trust yourself.
Okay. Trust myself.
Trust yourself.
Will do.
Trust yourself. I mean, even if it's like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. Or like, what's right and wrong for you? I'm a 36-year-old woman who, had to make the decision. I don't want to be a swing in a show anymore. Okay, so here's a story for you. They're doing The Music Man on Broadway right now, or they're going to try to, but there's this plague. And they were auditioning for Sutton Foster's understudy. And I said, I really want to go in for this. But what they were optioning is we want the person who understudies Sutton Foster to also be the offstage swing to cover not just Marian the librarian, but like 6 other pick-a-little ladies. And I said, I really want to understudy Sutton. I do not want to be the offstage swing because I think it's more important for me as my job to watch Sutton because I will get thrown on with Hugh Jackman and I'm not going to embarrass myself and I want to do good work. I don't want to be watching 7 other people's tracks and not focusing on her. So I said, I'm happy to come in, but I will only come in as someone who wants to be on stage all the time and be the understudy. And the final, it was down to 6 of us. 6, this is 6, this is 5, this is 6 at the very end. And I know that 4 out of the 6 of those girls said, I'm going to come in as the understudy, but I don't want to swing. And none of the 4 girls that I talked to specifically got it because we set up boundaries for ourselves. So it was those other 2, one might've been one of those other 2 girls who said, hey, I'm willing to do it. And she'll get the role and she'll go on for Marian Librarian with Hugh Jackman, but I have to set boundaries for myself and know what's good for me and trust me. Because I've been a swing before and I've been a good swing. I'm a good swing. And I just got to the point where I said, it's not for me anymore, specifically with this role. Yeah. It's too important to me. So I might have missed out on a big opportunity, but I have to do what's best for me.
Yeah.
But the audition was good. I got called back. I was one of the final 6. I could not be happier. Really, I couldn't be happier with those results.
Great. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all the questions I had.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Make sure you have my email. You can email me anytime.
Oh yeah, totally.
I have a website. I have this website, www.katoloprest.com. It exists. You can contact me if you have any questions, any of you. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, keep in touch. Let me know where you're at, okay?
Okay.
Bye, Marta.
Bye.
Bye.
Awesome. I mean, Marta is already, so she auditioned for me earlier this year for the Diary of Anne Frank. I believe having read the actual diary like 5 times.
Yeah.
So she's one of my researchers.
Yeah, research is important.
It's critical. So I actually did get texted this question from Miss Broussard, who you met at the beginning.
Yes.
And it's a great question. But so you had the opportunity to originate your role in First Date. So what is the difference? How is that different for you than playing something that has been done before?
It's easier and harder at the same time because you have nothing to base it off of. But when you let go of that, you just have to know that you're creating something, and that when you're creating something along the way, you're going to make mistakes. The good news about it is that we were basically in a room of clowns and comedians. Like, it was like, I'm going to try this. Oh, that was dumb. Oh, well, that was dumb, but now we like it, and it's going to stick for the next 6 months. So, yeah, talk about trusting yourself, you know? And
Seriously.
yeah, I get in my head at least once during every process. Everybody does, you know what I mean? But you work through and you find your way somehow out by talking to the director or trusting yourself and trusting that it's a process. It's a process. Yeah, that was fun. It was special. Going from moving into the rehearsal room to tech to previews to opening night is such a crazy experience because you're rehearsing in a room and trying new things, and then you move into the theater to tech something. So then you're basically in darkness for 12 hours a day for like 2 or 3 weeks on end. And then you start performing in front of people and then going back during the day during previews and changing things. I was in a show called Wonderland on Broadway. It was a 93-page script. One day they came in and 75 out of the 93 pages were different.
That's tough.
I mean, and I was like, I'm so glad I'm not the lead in this show.
Seriously.
Here's my job. I'm going to shut up, sit down, and go over there. And when they tell me to do something, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to pay attention. That's my job today. Those people that are the leads that have to learn all that new stuff and everything. I mean, they were kind. They did, okay, we're going to do 30 pages today, 30 pages tomorrow, and reacclimate. But I really had to know my gear at that point. And in 4 days into previews of First Date, I was cast as 2 characters. One of those characters got cut from the show completely. I had a whole production number and a whole different character, and it got cut 4 days in. And people were like, were you disappointed? And I was like, yeah, but the show didn't need it. It wasn't helping the performance. And I know that the people, the creatives involved, I know they like me and trust me. It had nothing to do with me and everything to do with the show. And if they could have given me something else to do, they would have. They tried. And we were like, and they were looking at me. They're like, what do we do? And I was like, cut it. I don't care. Am I still a principal in this show? Yeah, I'm still a lead. Okay, cool. Then we're good here. I wasn't demoted in any way, shape, or form. And I've worked for both of those directors since then. So I know it's not an issue with me. That's again about trusting yourself.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the goal is good storytelling, right? As theater artists. And if that character doesn't help tell the story, bye. I
mean, it's also, gosh, in writing or it's gosh, this is a terrible thing to say. They say killing babies. You got to kill your babies, and it's hard. You're like, but that story is my life, and that character is my life, or that line, or that one thing I do that's amazing is that's my life. And you're like, you got to kill your babies, man. Yep. Don't really kill your babies, but it's a weird thing to say. But you have to be cool enough with yourself to do that, and also like you got to keep your ego in check.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. That's when you know it's not about you. And I'm going to go sit over there today and get work done so that those people on stage can do well tonight. They're learning new songs. They're learning new dances.
Oh, so,
yeah.
All right, Kate. Well, do you have anything else you'd like to tell these young high schoolers, these 14 to 18-year-olds?
Yes. It's going to be okay.
Oh.
Where you are now is not forever. It will get better. My dog is snoring. I did not like high school. I did not like junior high. I still don't like those people. I really like to show up at my reunions because I'm doing good. Don't live your life with vengeance. Live it for you. That is the ultimate reward. It will get better. So hang in there. The other thing I'm going to say is keep learning. Always be in class. Always be learning something new. Keep your ego in check and know that you are a student of the universe, and that is the most important thing.
Oh, Kate, that is such amazing advice that they all needed to hear, especially right now.
Yeah, especially right now. I am always in class. I'm in an on-camera class right now. I'm always in an acting class. I'm in a sight singing class, not just an exercise or workout class. I'm always working to better myself. So if you want to take a course in Arabic and that makes you feel good, you want to learn pottery, do it. It makes you a more complete, whole, happy person.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kate, for being here. And thank you all, students, for being here. It seems like we must have an awesome turnout in the comments because they just don't stop rolling through.
Oh, I didn't see this live comment. Woo, look at that.
I know, they're happening.
I didn't see live comments.
Yes, live comments on the
No baby killing here, ma'am.
None at all. Well, awesome. Thank you so much. And make sure you all come back next week for our guest artist. And Kate, if you could hang out for just a minute, that would be awesome.
You bet. Bye, guys. Take good care, okay?
Bye.